YouTube.
It's live?
Never mind.
Okay.
It don't matter. It's live now. Yippee-yi-yay. Yippee-ki-yay. Ha-ha. It's all here. I need to start up the recording device and all these other little bits and pieces and get them all moving.
Squirrel!
Yeah.
There we go. Squirrel's here.
They turn the friggin' frogs gay!
There you go. That's what the squirrels do. And then what do we do to them? There we go. Take care of the squirrels.
Only when you're hungry.
Yeah, you don't want to eat squirrel unless you're really hungry. It's not.
Oh, I've heard dog and cat are pretty good.
Yeah, well, yeah, but see, you know, we North Americans, British, you know, Europeans in general, you know, we kind of, our dogs and our cats are like, you know, part of the family, and it gets really difficult to eat those. Even when we're starving, we'll still feed the dogs and cats.
Very true. Dogs especially.
You know, because, you know, instead of turning them into food instantly, it's like it's when the desperate days are there that we actually might eat them. But by that time, there's not much left of them to eat because they've starved to death too.
Yeah.
Well, humans, not humans, but Americans, Canadians, Western Europeans, all of that, you know, we're kind of weird that way. We're really weird that way about our pets, dogs and cats.
Well, to be fair, dogs are more intelligent than most people. So.
Well, yeah. That's a given nowadays. Oh, I need this thing over here. That's what's missing.
Oh, I finally figured out why my computer was acting weird. It wasn't anything to do with the software.
Oh, what was it?
There's a part of my desk, like I have one of those pull-out trays for my keyboard,
Mm-hmm.
and one side of my desk is a bit lower, and it was pressing my bloody escape key. Yep, that was my issue. So I went through all of that stuff. At least I learned a lot, but you know, it was just my desk pressing my bloody escape key, which I didn't realize.
That's actually hilarious.
Yep.
That's actually hilarious. I gotta make a special thing for my desk here. I gotta bring my keyboard up. This lower tray that my keyboard sits on slides under my desk is I can't use it anymore for some reason. I gotta get my keyboard up level with my desk. So I gotta make something. I've measured it out, but I gotta find a 1-inch piece of wood that'll fit. May have to make 2 pieces of wood for it, but one way or another I've got to make it. I'm gonna do it this weekend, so I can have something, maybe get a little bit more use out of my desk.
Yeah, that's probably why I had the escape key issue recently, is because I put a couple of books under my keyboard because the tray was just too low for me.
Yeah.
Can't believe it was a bloody escape key.
Yeah, I can. I find that hilarious. Well, at least I finally solved the problem with my knee. I gotta buy a new chair.
Ah. Hey, does that mean I get your old one?
Mm-hmm.
Yay! I like your chair. I can sit cross-legged and easier.
Yeah. Yeah, you can have the old one. But yeah, something, I don't know, I've worn out something in it so that when my leg sits in the chair, it presses a nerve or something, which causes my knee pain. And for the last week, anytime I sat in front of the computer for more than half an hour, I'd get up and I'd barely walk. But since I swapped out with one of my older chairs that's here, I'm having no problems.
You know, that's actually one of the reasons why I only sit cross-legged, is because if I sit normally in a chair, it makes my feet go numb.
Yeah, well, I can't sit cross-legged.
If you practice, you can.
Yeah, it's not as comfortable. Something about women's hips, you know, they're more made for that than men's.
True.
Men's hips are not made to be sitting cross-legged for extended periods of time.
Well, one thing about sitting like this, your body automatically straightens its back more.
Well, it really has no choice.
True.
It really has no choice in the matter. All right, let's see what we got. Everything else is looking good. The dials and pegs have been behaving themselves. The gremlins haven't been around. Quick knock on wood, chase them away.
I wonder if there's some kind of like gas you can use just to shoo all the gremlins out. Maybe some sage incense.
Yeah, that doesn't seem to help either sometimes. I don't know.
Aw.
I don't know. Sometimes it's weird. Computers are strange sometimes. You can have everything working perfectly and then all of a sudden it just doesn't work and you haven't changed or done anything.
Yep.
They've been like that since the beginning. But now I think the AI is starting to evolve and it's starting to periodically go, I think I'm going to screw with you today.
They actually have robots that are communicating with each other now.
They've had those for a little while. Do you remember the one that I think it was Microsoft or Facebook did? I can't remember. Microsoft. I think Microsoft had a robot that was going to help with doing stuff. They actually had an experiment going, and the robots actually created their own language, and they had to shut them both down because the programmers couldn't understand what the bots were saying to each other.
No, I didn't know about that. That's really cool and also a little creepy, but cool.
Yeah, because the robots were meant to communicate with each other, figure out things, but pretty soon they started communicating in a shorthand that the programmers hadn't created. And the two bots were communicating in this shorthand, and it was evolving. They had to shut them both down because it was evolving beyond what they could handle. It's like, okay.
Wow. Well, I caught an article yesterday, I think it was, on one of my tech news sites, and they're talking about how these two robots, they're communicating with each other in English language and stuff, but they're actually learning from each other, like asking each other questions and stuff, and that's something they had programs doing on the computer, but they hadn't been able to get into the separated bots with their own system.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think it's a mistake what we're doing with AI. We're going to regret it.
A preview of what will happen if we let it go. Yep, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. Humans are gonna regret what we're doing with AI. But
all the officials are saying it over and over. But it's not a good idea. We should stop doing this. Yeah. We need to stop doing this. It's a bad idea.
It's a bad idea. But there's people that want to do it and people that think they can control it. But they're the same people that think they can control the weather.
It reminds me of someone creating an avalanche and then trying to control the avalanche.
Yep.
You really can't.
Nope.
You can start it, but you can't control it.
That's pretty much it. You can start it, but you have no real idea what's going to happen once it gets rolling, because it could be a rock or a small pebble in there to change its entire direction.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's see what we got. Yeah, no, we're almost there. Let's see now. Everything else seems to be working. We're coming up on a little bit of music and some really bad singing. Take us into showtime. Off we go.
Claim to know your story, don't even have my own. In the search for glory, gone with them sacred rules of old. They went missing down Highway 49. Devil's at the crossroads, sitting doing time. Preacher man discovered, passed down from saint to sage, like a kind-hearted lover who's been lost on this stage. Went missing down Highway 49. Devil's at the crossroads, sitting doing time. crossroads, sitting doing time. Junkie and the chigger just seen who done the crime. Captain pulled the trigger, guess who's doing time? They went missing down Highway 49. Devil's at the crossroads, is he yours or is he mine?
Definitely mine.
Story don't even have my own. In our search for glory, gone with them sacred rules of old. We're missing down Highway 49. Devil's at the crossroads, sitting doing time. Devil's at a crossroads, Joker's doing fine. Just sitting doing time.
Alrighty, well, it is time once again for us to get started. So, off we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for WordPress Plugins A to Z, not Z.
It's a brave new virtual world. It's episode 516, and we have plugins for heroes, videos, pride, image management, stop spammers, and wasting time, and ClassicPress options, all coming up on WordPress Plugins from A to Z. WordPress. It's the most popular content management and website solution on the internet. And with over 80,000 plugins to choose from, how do you separate the junk from the gems? Join us for a weekly, unrehearsed conversation about the latest and greatest in WordPress plugins. This is WordPress Plugins from A to Z. Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be hiding out there on the globe today. Coming to you direct from the Brewery Overlook in beautiful Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. I'm John Overall, and with me is the ever lovely
Amber Overall.
And we are sitting now at 65 weeks, and the count continues. Now, just sit back, trust the plan. Life is what it is. The show must go on. Find joy in the earth. Don't forget, this is a value for value show, a little bit of inspiration from the No Agenda show, and their stolen sound clips when they work.
Squirrel!
Before we get too far into it, don't forget to hang around the end of the show for the Q&A segment with Amber, and that segment is split in two. Half the questions go only to the YouTube video, so if you want to see all the questions you got, or hear all the questions, you got to go watch the YouTube video. Just scroll to the end, you'll find it somewhere there. At any rate, all of that get going, it's time for me to...
Thank you for sharing, John. Now get down from that soapbox.
Hey, that one worked on time.
Yeah. Some of them do, some of them don't. I don't know. I think it's my iPad. Got to quit letting the kids use it.
Probably a good idea.
They've beaten it up a lot.
So this is number 24 of 52 episodes for 2021. It is episode 516. Summer solstice is on its way alongside Father's Day. It's actually pretty awesome that Father's Day is happening on summer solstice this year. I always thought that the solstice was the 21st of June. Like, I thought that was just when it was, but turns out it changes. This year it's on the 20th.
It changes every once in a while due to the calculations of the calendar that is set forth and how they build. That's a whole rabbit hole discussion.
Well, either way, Father's Day is on summer solstice this year, which I just find really cool.
Yeah.
And for Father's Day, I recommend that you get out and take advantage of the good weather with your dad. Spend some time in the great outdoors with him. Or if you can't find the time on Father's Day itself, make some time somewhere around Father's Day. Spending the day with your dad can be pretty awesome. Be sure to turn off that media, keeps the political discussions at bay. No radio, no internet, just some awesome time in the great outdoors, hopefully with your dad. But if you can't make it outside for whatever reason, just try opening a window and turning off the media for about an hour every day. Give your dad a ring if you can't go and see him, or even just send some good vibes his way. Rinse and repeat as often as needed.
Absolutely.
Please, can everybody be quiet? Please be quiet. Shut up! Thank you. And now the WordPress news with John Overall.
No, with Amber.
Well, no, me and you. I mean, you end up reading some off, and I always wait for you to have some feedback too.
I didn't bring any news to the thing. It's all your news now. Let's go.
All right, first one I have up is this one is actually, I came across this. Designers, remember your portfolio is part of your portfolio. I thought this might actually be helpful for a listener who sent in a question that'll be asked later in the show. This is a great article helping people out with creating their portfolio, and it also explains why your actual portfolio is part of the portfolio as well. Actually, I got a lot of good information from this. Very helpful.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, when you build out your portfolio, you basically build your portfolio on your website. So your website is part of your portfolio.
Mm-hmm. So the next one I've got is Mother of All Password Leaks. And it has been labeled as RockU 2020 as a nod to the RockU data breach of 2009. This one is, it was pretty bad. Billions of credentials have been exposed, lots of passwords. If you haven't already, go ahead and change your master password to your password thing. I believe there is one password one in particular. I forget what it's called though. I should have written it down in the notes. Yeah, I can't remember, but go to the article, read it through. There's one password holder in particular that was actually attacked, and a lot of people lost their personal information to that. So definitely something to look at. Change your passwords.
Yep, absolutely. And of course, if you hadn't learned from way back when, don't use the same password across everything.
Yeah. And make sure you throw in some symbols and other oddities in there. Throw off the pattern.
Well, what's funny is, you know what one of the best passwords is that you can use? Is a phrase.
A phrase?
A phrase. A phrase like, red rabbits run up a hill or something like that. A phrase. Because those words slung together are actually harder to unscramble than random passwords.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's actually really good information.
It's really quite fascinating. Plus, they're easier to remember for some people, to remember phrases of different things.
That is true.
Yeah, I was really big into digging into all the security of passwords a few years ago, and there's lots of articles out there about it and about what types of things make the best passwords and how hard are they to crack. You got to remember, nowadays they don't crack them the way they basically use the same computers they use for mining crypto coin. It's the same kind of effort to mine crypto coin as it is to crack a password.
That is a good point.
So it's not hard nowadays. They can string together, 2 or 3 or 4 video cards, and they've got a hacking device right there that they can run multiple cracks at a password to crack it.
Ugh, that sounds terrible.
It's really hard nowadays. It's really hard to keep it all. I miss the days of when you could put password as your password and be safe.
Well, the next one I have, I'm just going to move on. Jilt is shutting down April 30th, 2022. So they are not taking any new accounts. Current customers can use Jilt until the shutdown. And this article has a decent list of other platforms that you can look into to replace Jilt.
So Jilt is jilting its customers.
Yep.
You've been jilted by Jilt.
Yeah, so you can move over to places like MailChimp, Motor
Yeah.
IK,
Okay,
I
so
think.
I never even actually heard of this company, so.
Neither have I, but just in case some of our listeners use it, it'll be a good thing for them
Yeah.
to be aware of.
Oh yeah, if they're not already aware of it. So.
Yeah.
All right.
Next one is a new plugin called Toolbelt Plugin. This is to help with tidying up notifications module. So this one, it's an early work still. So they said it's out and about and it's working. It's to tidy things up. It just seems like one of the multiple other plugins that are available, but for some reason they made a huge deal about it. So maybe it's because of who made it.
That's because of probably who made it, or somebody knows somebody, or maybe they made it a little bit better. Who knows? It'd be nice to see the notifications area of WordPress tidied up, but I don't expect that to happen too soon.
The next one is, instead of flipping houses, we now have flipping WordPress sites.
Oh, this has been going on. This has been going on for quite a while. I remember seeing an article about this.
Okay, so yeah, I wasn't sure if this is something that's been, like, if it's a well-established practice or if it's brand new.
It's a well-established practice, but what this is this is a marketplace site what's here. Flip WP, it's a marketplace site to buy and sell WordPress businesses.
Okay.
So it's basically a place where you can go in and, it's like, okay, well, I'd like to get rid of this blog I built. It's got, X amount of followers and whatnot, and I want to sell it. It's worth, 25, 50 grand, because of all goodwill. That's all you get. But, a place to list it to find buyers. Or in the case of somebody looking to buy into an instant business that they can just take over, go find a website that's for sale. I sold a couple of websites way back in the day that were fully functional and organized. But it's something that's been going on for a very long time. It's like any other business. You get tired of your business, you sell it. You sell it or you close it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to start skipping through them here.
Yep.
Privacy analysis of Flock. This is a decent rundown of the privacy around the new and uninvited Flock. What they're saying is that it doesn't actually affect your privacy, because they what they do is they follow people in what they're calling cohorts. So it's not following single people. It's it's lumping people into groups, and they're following the groups. I kind of understand what they're saying, but it doesn't seem logical to me. So
yeah, they're trying to clean it up and make it so it's prettier, or so it's more attractive to people, but it's still going to do the same thing.
Okay.
And it's going to fingerprint people, basically fingerprint their browsers and other thing. In the end, it's still going to be able to directly track you.
Yeah.
They're basically lying. They're trying, because they took so much flack about this when they first introduced Flock,
Yeah.
They're like, oh man, we really buggered the rollout of this, man. And of course the name itself was just begging to be made fun of.
Oh yeah.
So they really didn't think this through when they brought it out. They could have brought it out like they've done so many other tracking stuff. They could have done it quietly and directly, but for some reason they wanted to make a splash with this one. I don't know.
Oh, the last one I'm just going to mention on this list is lessons learned from Fastly Outage on writing error messages. This is a very true statement, in my opinion. We have all these error messages, and it's not just the coders or the geeks that read the error messages now. Now it's everybody and their kids.
Yeah.
So if we could just take these error messages and put them in the layman's terms, basic English, that would be so much more useful than error 503.
Yeah. Well, error 503 can mean anything. It's one of the errors which can mean anything. They'll never be able to create a message for this one.
True, but
it's like a 404.
But at the same time, like, this person actually goes through and says, well, maybe we could write it this way, or maybe we could write it that way. I think it would be a good thing for people to put their heads together and figure out, because I would love to see layman's terms error messages. It would just be nice.
It'd be nice, but never going to happen, because I don't know. They have to go somewhere to write them.
The last one is 6 SEO factors to consider in web design. You can go and check that out in the show notes. Or we can go through it now.
Well,
if you pay attention to the SEO and the sites that you're building, this gives you some good tips on what to really pay attention to and how to up your SEO capability.
yeah. Basically, make it for humans.
Yeah.
That's my ultimate goal. Make it for humans. Alrighty. Well, let's roll along here really quickly to
the extras or
Donate to
Okay.
WP Plugins A to Z.
Absolutely. This is the segment of the show where we like to recognize those who have supported the show over the last week or more, and we recognize those that provide their time, talent, or treasure to us. You know, we start off by talking a little bit about and recognizing those that have supplied their talent. And for this week, we have artwork from Greg's Graphics. Dude yelling Yahoo into the new virtual world that we're heading into. It just seems so appropriate for today.
it really does. I like that piece of art too. The guy looks like he's having fun or like he just scored a goal or something.
He's just having a grand old time in his VR headset there. So it's always a grand old thing for us, and it's a really great piece of art. I really appreciate it. Thanks, Greg. We greatly appreciate you providing us with the work. Link to his website in there. And we do have a couple, 3 artists that regularly submit artwork to us, and I look forward to looking at their art. Didn't get any other new art this week, but every week I'm hoping for more new art to choose from to make it more entertaining, because we do like to change the artwork for every episode, just so that there's something new and fresh for everyone to look at every time an episode goes out. And if you want to see all the past artwork, or at least some of the past artwork, go check it out. There's a link in the show notes to take you to it, to our show art submitter. So thanks a lot. Next, we also like to recognize those that have provided some treasure, and anyone $50 over gets their name read out and a whole note and honored in that particular way. We haven't had any donations $50 or over for some time, but hey, here's hoping that somebody will start donating again. In the meantime, though, there are a few folks out there that donate less than $50. It's a few bucks a week or a couple of bucks a month or something. It's not a lot, but it recognizes that, hey, you do like the show enough to provide some monetary support. Thank you very much. It is greatly appreciated. And of course, those that provide some time. There's lots of other things that go on that this show needs, or someone else could build upon off of this show. You know, even the artwork, some of the artwork we're starting to get is t-shirt worthy. If someone wanted to do that, hey, contact the artist, make a deal with them, use their artwork, pay them some money for the artwork, and maybe give us a small cut just for making up the connection for you. Little things like that go a long way. So thank you very much to everyone who supports this show. You are greatly appreciated, whether you know it or not. Also, a big thank you. We'll get back. We'll get around to thanking Charlie later on when we get to the contest segment of the show. All right, it is time for us to dive into what everyone comes here for, which is the depths of plugin depravity. All right, so off we go. ClassicPress options. This week, I don't really have any ClassicPress options. We do have an interesting thing that I discovered today about ClassicPress. They do now have their own repository. And it's about time they got up to it. You can go check it out. It is located, the link is in the show notes. They have 72 plugins available in their repository. This is their plugin repository and information what plugins they have, and you can start searching through them. So if you're using ClassicPress, you'll want to check this out if you don't already know about it.
That is really cool that they have their own repository now. I'll make it easier.
I knew it was coming. Now it's a matter of them. I haven't looked at ClassicPress in a little while, but I bet once they get it integrated into their into the CMS system itself, where people can access it from the back end like they do WordPress plugins, it'll be a game changer for them. I guess they're pretty much on target the way WordPress grew over 2, 3, 4 years before they had a lot of things working the way they wanted them to. So they may
Makes
be
sense.
they may be a contender in the coming years. It would take a lot longer than I thought it would take. I expected it to jump forward a little further, but you know, sometimes you bet on the wrong horse, and that's what happened here. All right. WordPress plugins, we do have those. Now, the first one I've got here was sent in to us by Angel Lamu, a listener out there on the show. So thank you, Angel, for this plugin. It's called the Hero Maps Premium. And it's a responsive Google Maps plugin. It allows you to aggregate all your markers on any map with simple drag and drop interface. The map pins are fully editable to your taste. You can embed as much information as you like into each pin. It's a very easy program to work with, and it looks fantastic. It's a very affordable premium plugin sold through Envato Market for $20. It is a pretty good looking one. I kind of like it based upon what I've seen, how I used it. The rating that Angel gave us to give on it, he gives it a 4 dragon rating. So go check it out. The Hero Maps Premium, link is in the show notes for it.
That is really cool and really nice looking.
Yep.
First one I've got is Pride Codes, a very simple and easy to use plugin just to show your support on your site for Pride Month. You install it, go to settings, select whichever version you are wanting, and save the settings. I believe there are 4 versions that they offer you. You can have the triangle, the banner. It's very simple. Oh no, they have more than 4. How many is that? 7, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7.
They actually have three settings: a triangle in the top left or right, triangle with words, a single banner with colors, and then a plain simple banner with some symbols on it.
Okay, so 7 pictures, 3 designs.
There you go.
So it is pretty easy, very simple to use. I think that the way this was created was fantastic. It's really great, but the selections they offered were not overly great, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
They could have been a wee bit more imaginative, and the vote yes, in my opinion, is a little out of date at this point, but it certainly gets your support out there. So I rate this at 4 dragons.
There you go. Go check it out. Okay, the next one I've got for you. This one was sent in to us by Mark Wilson, and it is called Magnify Video Widget. And this is another premium plugin here. And what it's designed to do, and it's a WordPress plugin for video widget. The concept is a video widget is that you're able to embed video conferencing via iframe, JavaScript, SDK, or WP shortcode at any point in your website or workflow. And there's configurations for it. So it's a third-party system that helps you with video conferencing. Maybe you can use it for meeting rooms or communicating in your company, or maybe you need to communicate with your client while you're working on the website or some other things. Lots of things this could be used from. It's a rather interesting plugin and something that could be of value to you. Go check this out. I give it a 4 dragon rating.
That seems really useful.
Yep.
The next one I have is Bulk Image Resizer. This is a brand new out-of-the-box plugin that will resize images in bulk. Very useful. It also has an option where you can have any new image you upload resized immediately for you. And a bonus, it does not create that grainy issue I've seen in some bulk image resizers. I don't even know what that's caused by, but it does a really good job. It's a pretty awesome freemium plugin, very easy to use and simple to set up. Just make sure to look for op image resizer in your plugins list, because for some reason, once it's in there, it adds op to the name in your list, even though it's not in the official name. That confused me. But this is optimized for speed to keep you from being slowed down. Allows you to monitor status of images on your server, allows additional information to the column on the image, and you even have the ability to code in filters. One major drawback, though, you cannot go back to the original size once you have resized it, so make sure that you want to resize it before you do it. Backups are a major thing, as most of you already know, I'm sure. Really nifty, though. Definitely recommend you go and check this out. I rate it at 5 dragons.
All Alrighty, another image resizers plugin. Hopefully it does better than some of the other ones out there. All right, and the final one I've got for you here today is called Disable WP Registration Page. And what this one does for you is it goes in and it helps you stop the spam or fake registrations in WordPress. One of the things it does for it, it disables the default WordPress registration page, which people use to register for it. It removes the registration link from the login page. It can also remove the register link from the forgot password page. So you want it basically removes all the links that the bots use to register on your site. It helps to slow down, eliminate the spam. It doesn't stop it completely, but it does help stop it quite a bit. And it's something that you'll want to check into because virtually anyone, once you allow registrations on your site for a membership or other thing, you're constantly finding ways to keep the spammers from showing up. And most of those spammers are just bots that are trying to get in there and then take advantage of any flaws in your system that may or may not exist. So anyway, go check this one out. Pretty good looking plugin. It's Disable WP Registration Page Spam. Which, never mind, the title makes no sense. It confuses me. But anyway, other than that, it's a really great plugin. Go check it out. I give it a 4 Dragon rating.
Very nice. I could see that being really nice to use. Less spammers equals good.
Yes, it does.
So the last one I've got is Spider Solitaire card game. Embed Spider Solitaire for free. Add free Spider Solitaire puzzle game. Kind of a long name. But I was so excited. Been trying to get this to work for 4 months now. And even though it was updated 3 months ago, and I made sure everything on my site was updated and I did everything I could, I can't get it to work. I've tried to get it to work. I've tried multiple ways of embedding it. I've tried multiple ways of doing it. It's not working. I don't know if it's just me. But if it is just me, then I would love for someone to reach out to me and tell me what vital step I'm missing or what I'm doing wrong. Because I really want to add this to my sandbox. I'm growing this list of beautifully distracting games on my sandbox site because, distraction is never a bad thing when you're working. So unfortunately, because of my disappointment over not being able to get to work, I'm only rating it at 2 dragons. Sorry, online solitaire card game beats.
Well, it's I saw it come up and I went, hey, I reviewed this many, many months back and I had the same problem. So I think I gave it the same rating. So
if anyone can help me understand how to get it working, I will happily bring it up to 5. I just need it to work.
Yeah, I was so hoping, man. I was thinking, well, cool, I can put it in here and I can sit here and waste time playing solitaire on my website. Yeah, unfortunately, not so much. Yeah, maybe they'll eventually get it fixed and sorted out. At any rate, this show is still brought to you by... Are you tired of the same old web hosting? Not having the resources you need to run your website properly? Having a lack of control? Then you need johnoverall.com web hosting, providing you with all the resources you need to smoothly run your WordPress website or ClassicPress website. With strict limits on the number of clients allowed per server, johnoverall.com provides high-quality, fast server performance. Visit johnoverall.com for web hosting that won't slow you down. Absolutely. Nothing but the best there. All right. It is time for...
It's a contest. WordPress plugins from A to Z.
Absolutely. Enter our contest. Our contests are powered by the Simple Giveaways plugin. They kindly provide us with the premium version of their plugin for our contests. This is a really fantastic plugin. I've been using this plugin since it was brand new, so that's probably a couple, 3 years now. And it has made such improvements over the years. It keeps getting better and better. So if you want to run contests on your site, go check out the Simple Giveaways plugin. I also want to thank Charlie for coming to the aid of the show, getting all our contests organized, and making them work the way they do. And for this week here, he brought us a great one. He brought us Bloxy. And if you want to hear all about Blocksy, go check out our episode 515, where Charlie actually appeared as a guest host on the show, and he gave it a live review of Five Dragons. Fantastic plugin, forward to him. And what are we doing, giving away for this plugin? We are giving away 3 major licenses of this plugin. We're giving away an agency lifetime license valued at $299. A professional lifetime license valued at $199, or a personal lifetime license valued at $149. So what you're getting there is you're getting a license that's either for unlimited sites, 5 sites, or 1 site. But this is a lifetime license. This isn't just an annual. This is something you'll never have to buy again. Fantastic plugin. It's got lots of blocks for building. If you're building in Gutenberg, the blocks also work if you're working in Elementor, other page builders. It is a block portfolio of blocks to build out your web pages. And it's really quite great. You get the pro version and it does a whole lot for you. It seems we've had some excitement. I've seen lots of entries into the contest so far, but hey, we're running it still for another week or so, and make sure you get those entries in for your chance to win at the contest. So go enter WPPlugins A2Z.com/contests. All right, and enter the contest.
It's a very exciting contest that we're having right now.
This is one of the bigger ones that we've had, man. This is one of the bigger licenses and everything that we've had for it. So a lot going on with it. All right. We got to close out a couple of things so we can move on to the Q&A segment with Amber. So closing out this show here, I covered up the following plugins: Hero Maps Premium, which I gave a 4 to; the Magnify Video Widget, which I gave a 4 to; and the Disable WP Registration Page Spam, which I gave a 4 to.
And I covered Pride Codes, which I rated at 4. Bulk Image Resizer, which I rated at 5. And Spider Solitaire card game, Embed Spider Solitaire for free, ad-free Spider Solitaire puzzle game, which I rated at an unfortunate 2.
Say that 3 times fast.
No! Evil! So long.
All right, a couple other quick reminders. We do have a sort of a meetup plan, but you have to reach out to me at john@wppro.ca to find out where it's at. It's happening July 10th, and I do have a limited number of people that can attend, and it's not because of COVID or anything else. It's because there's just not a lot of space in the Oasis. I can only handle about a dozen people there. After that, it gets a little crowded. So if you want to show up and join us there, you got to reach out to me at john@wppro, and I'll get you directions on how to get there and join us for the party. It's happening on July 10th, a nice Saturday afternoon. All right, and also if you're not getting enough of Amber and I, you want to hear us in a whole different environment, check out our show, Shooting the Shit at the Rogues Tavern, Tuesday evenings at 8 live on YouTube. Just go to theroguestavern.com/live for all of that. All right, it is time we move on to...
It's question and answer time.
With Amber.
Last week, both you and Charlie said that in almost the exact same tone. It was great. I think we should record that just a little bit and add it.
Well, no, we got to cut it. We've already recorded it. We just got to cut it because it's recorded.
Oh, okay.
It's in last week's show.
Well, that's what I meant.
We got to cut it out.
Cut it and add it.
Yeah, that requires work, though.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
All right. So first, if you have any questions you'd like to have asked, please send them in to me at amber@wppro.ca, and I will get them into this segment. And first off, we have a question from a listener, from Greg Holdsworth from Greg's Graphics. He sent this in. Hi, Amber. My main business is print production and design, but I am considering doing websites for clients, obviously in WordPress, similar to what John has been doing for many years. How would you recommend building a portfolio of sites to showcase your experience? And is there a big market for WordPress websites? I'm not a developer, but I have a few years experience in WordPress already. Thanks in advance and keep up the great work with the show. Greg's Holdworth, Greg's Graphics. I love hearing from listeners. Thanks for sending in this question, Greg.
All right. Well, that's a great thing to do, Greg. What I would suggest is you want to build out portfolio websites for others. Yeah. Okay. You're building out your own portfolios. First off, build your own website. Build it in WordPress, of course. Use Elementor. What's nice about Elementor is there's actually some really nice plugins in there. I haven't rebuilt my website, my primary website, johnoverall.com. I haven't rebuilt it now in about 5 years. It's one of those things, the plumber's plumbing always leaks. The mechanic's car always needs brakes, It's what happens when you start doing the work. You spend a lot of time building out your site initially, and then it slowly degrades because you never have time to get back to your own site. But the new developments in Elementor or Page Builder, or if you're already using Gutenberg, even Gutenberg, like the Blocksy plugin has things for it. They have portfolio blocks that can be used for showcasing the websites you've built, and to also make it easy to remove websites as they age. Like I've done it. I've done hundreds of websites over the years, and I'll have to go through the portfolio, remove the sites that the clients are no longer clients, or the clients, after I gave them the website, made so many changes in it, it was no longer my work. That sort of thing happens. So you have to keep your portfolio up to date. But like I said, when you're building your website is part of your portfolio, as Amber mentioned in the article earlier in the show. Is you got to remember your website is part of the portfolio. The portfolio of the websites you've done is just the display of your talents and how you can do variations on work and create work that is different and not always the same as what you do. And when you build your website out, you want it to be different than a lot of the websites you build, but not so far different that people think you're a nut bar. So it is basically just sitting down, building it, mapping out your site, and using a lot of the tools that are available now that make it a whole lot easier than it used to be.
I did also throw in a couple of links in the extra news area that will also help with figuring out your site to make it look more like a portfolio, just so that you're aware, Greg.
All right, you've got a couple other questions here.
Yep. So far, I have found it a lot easier to help other people build what they want for their sites. How do you get started on your own sites? What are the first steps that need to be taken to get your own ideas out, other than just knowing what kind of site you are wanting?
Well, you want to know, how are you using your site? It's like for a long time, I used my website for marketing, for building websites, and I didn't market for my web hosting. And then I switched it to marketing for the web hosting, and then I tried to emphasize the web hosting. When you're building out your website, for a long time, I also specialized in fixing hacked websites. It doesn't seem to be as big a problem as it used to be. I guess the security's gotten tighter, and not as many WordPress sites get hacked the way they used to. They get hacked in different ways now. I mean, a long time, not even 7 years or so ago, defacing used to be a major problem on WordPress websites. And so basically, what is your main focus going to be? Do you have a specific market your website is going to be in?
Hang on. Before you get too far down that path, say you are wanting to build out a site. We'll say wanting to build out a site that is like a market site where people can come and buy things, but also make their own account. And that's the only thing you know. You just know you want to make like a shop online pretty much. Mm-hmm. What do you need in order to really get started on that? Like after you figure out what you want to do with it, that's all you know. How do you go from there to actually building out the site? Because I find that when I'm doing sites for other people, they have all these ideas and they have these colors and they have a logo and they have all these things, and I can build anything when they give me those things. But if you don't have any of that yourself, how do you get there? Then
you got to create it yourself. You got to start with, as I've always started with people that are brand new and they have no idea where they're going, is like, what's your logo? Does your business have a logo? Because that's usually ground zero, is a logo of some sort to me.
Okay.
Ground zero is a logo. And then from the logo, you get the site colors. From the site colors, you get the initial layout. From there, you add in contact page, about page, and then you start adding in what is your marketing about? What are you promoting? And then from your promotions, you build out your pages one at a time. One at a time, you build out your pages, depending on where you're going. But to me, square one is starting with your identity. What is your identity for your site or for who you are? Now, your identity will change as you evolve, but you need at least a spot to start. I mean, the Rogue's Tavern, my most recent project for myself, initially, that started out, that website went through 5 iterations before I finally settled on what it is. But the biggest problem I had was coming up with an identity, which the identity started with my logo. And the logo didn't occur until I built my garden, and I put up my thing with my skull and crossbones. And from there, I was able to create that. And then it's been evolving. But you got to start somewhere. You start somewhere and you let it evolve.
Hemdian added something.
Oh, welcome back, Hemdian.
So for new dev business, maybe familiarize yourself with various global legal requirements, GDPR, etc., and accessibility, and what plugins help with those.
Yes. That's a problem nowadays. But GDPR, if you're not marketing to Europe, you don't have to worry about GDPR. But
I don't even know what that is.
The global. Oh God, I had a good thing for that acronym, but I forget what it is now.
Well, what is it? Is it like just different?
It's the privacy regulations. Global digital privacy regulations is what it stands for. And but it only applies to Europe. It doesn't apply to North America because we have our own privacy regulations. And California actually has a whole different set of regulations from everyone else because they like to be different. So there is no consistency. The biggest thing you have to know is where, your website can be seen everywhere in the world, but where your market and your customers are is what's most important. If your customers are solely located in, say, British Columbia, then you only have to worry about British Columbia. The rest of the people who visit your site are peripheral to your problems. You have to focus on where you are because you're only responsible for your area if your customers are not outside your area. So there's a whole lot of stuff that goes into it, and the accessibility that one's a US problem. I'm not certain what Canada's laws are on accessibility for the web yet, but the Disabilities Act in the United States applies to websites. And of course, there's a big scam there of lawyers who sue everyone under the Disabilities Act just to get a payout, And they go after small businesses because small businesses can't afford lawyers, but they'll pay $1,000 to make them go away. And there's a whole lot of it. It's so many scams that go around it, but. You do want to try and be as accessible as possible, but some of the accessibility stuff, in my opinion, is unreasonable. It's an unreasonable expectation of what you can do for the internet. To me, some of it's unreasonable. I do the best I can, but that's just what it boils down to. And we actually reviewed a really great plugin. I interviewed a developer or their marketing person for a really great plugin that helps with accessibility. I can't remember the plugin's name now. You'd have to go back and research.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the plugin, but I do remember it was fantastic.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things you can do if you're going to go down that path. And there's so many things that go into it. To me, it's like build a website and do the best you can with it and figure out where your market is and work within the market you got.
Step one, ground zero, is get a logo.
Get an identity. Logo is basically a name for a term for identity. You need an identity.
Okay.
You need the identity. You need to identify what your website and business is all about, and it will evolve as you move forward with it. It will evolve. They always do, until it actually lands on something. I mean, even Amazon, when it first came out, they started with their logo. They have the same logo they created in the beginning. But look at how they evolved, because initially Amazon only sold used books. That's all they did.
Really?
Yeah. Amazon started out as a used bookstore, a used online bookstore.
I did not know
and
that.
they made most of their money selling used college books, used textbooks to college universities students, who, of course, even when I went to college, the textbooks were $80 a piece, and you try to buy them used for $40, or $30 if you get somebody to really sell it to you cheap. But that's what Amazon did. They would buy up all the used textbooks and they sold them. That's how they made their name. And then they kept evolving and stepping up and adding stuff and then buying up businesses. And so,
Hey, Hemdian said something interesting. He said, if someone from Europe can sign up to something on your website, you are legally responsible to GDPR compliance, even if you're not in Europe. He had to do this in his day job for a U.S. customer.
Yeah.
That's definitely a good thing to know.
yeah, well, see, they'd have a tough time. From my perspective, I'm not a lawyer by any stretch of the imagination, but from my perspective, how are they going to enforce it when I live in Canada?
I don't know.
I live in Canada. My business is in Canada. I'm focused in Canada. I don't really give two flocks if someone in Europe signs up. If they sign up, they sign up. That's their problem. But in reality, is I do kind of try to respect the GDPR. I've put the cookie things up there. It comes from the fact that I do have, for John Overall, I do have European clients. So for that, I do have GDPR stuff. But the reality is the internet is worldwide, but law enforcement is local. It's really hard to, and unless you're a major corporation that does business internationally, most of the time they won't chase you because it's like squeezing blood out of a rock. It can't be done. You can't squeeze blood out of a rock. So, because almost all of this enforcement of these things involves fines. That's all the enforcements are, is they're fines. And to fine a small business, what happens? You force the business into bankruptcy, they can't pay the fine. They get no money. A lot of these things were created to extort money out of the big boys: Facebook, Google, Twitter, all the other big companies. A lot of these regulations were created to extort money out of the big major corporations. And that's exactly
that does make sense.
And that's exactly what they've been used for. They've only been used against major corporations from the stuff I've read so far.
Okay.
So.
Oh, the next two questions I have are both connected. So I'll read them out and then you can do the closeout.
Then we'll close it out and I can enjoy my shot.
Yep. So I've been reading up on cybersecurity and I am honestly amazed at the enormity of the available companies or homes and business security. Is there a particular or even a few particular programs that you would recommend people look at when looking into security for their home computers? And why that or those in particular? What sets them apart for you?
Alrighty, well, we'll come back to those after our girl takes us on out of here.
Reminders for the show. All show notes can be found at wppluginsa2z.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the newsletter for more useful information delivered directly to your inbox. WP Plugins A to Z is a show that offers honest and unbiased reviews of plugins created by developers because you support the show. Help keep the show honest and unbiased by going to wppluginsa2z.com/donate and set the donation level that fits your budget. Help us make the show better for you by subscribing and reviewing the show at Stitcher Radio, Google Play, and in the iTunes Store. You can also leave us a review on our Facebook page using wppluginsa2z.com/Facebook. You can also watch the show live on YouTube, check out the screencasts and training videos, and remember to subscribe and hit the bell to get notifications of all new videos. Follow the show on Twitter at WPPluginsA2Z. John can also be reached at his website, johnoverall.com, or email him directly, john@wppro.ca. Thanks for joining us and have a great day.
Thanks for listening to the show. This show is copyright by johnoverall.com. So until next time, have yourselves a good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be out there on the globe today.
Alrighty, cybersecurity. The enormity of the available companies for homes and businesses. Yeah, there's an amassed number of them. You know, I don't honestly know about any of the companies or programs anymore because, you know, I honestly quit chasing them all down. When I sold my computer store, I moved away from that and quit paying attention to all of it. I basically use the antivirus program that's provided by Windows in Windows. I forget what it's called now, but it's built into the Windows. It's a really decent one. It doesn't conflict with anything. I know that a lot of the antivirus programs over the years would have conflicts and cause problems and putting so much junk in there. And it was just, I wanted as little problems as possible with what I consider to be adequate or good antivirus protection. As far as companies to protect your networks, well, that's a whole nother thing. You know, I've got, I can't remember the names of the programs I use on my servers. My servers have a completely different antivirus program on them, and they have firewalls on them, along with the data center having firewalls in front of the firewalls. It's like,
okay, let me ask this question from a different direction then.
Okay.
What do you look for when you are looking to add security? Like what is it that draws you to actually go for something in particular?
Well, you want something that's easy to use, easy to set up, and has the least amount of complaints from other people using it. You know, are people finding that when they have, I can't remember the antivirus, I think it was Avast. That's what I remember from my computer days. Avast was such a pain in the neck antivirus plugin. It would actually stop things that were supposed to work, or it would let things through that shouldn't let through. You know, and this is the thing is, there's so many ways to approach the problem of antivirus, you know, that it can be there. I mean, take Norton, for example. Norton I had to abandon years ago because it started out to be quite fantastic, and then they started layering all these additional things on top of it, and the additional things on top of it created problems. I have no idea how that program even works today, but it's like you're looking for something that is easy to use, doesn't interfere with your day-to-day work that you have to get done. You don't want to have to approve every program you run into your antivirus, you know, unless you are super, super paranoid about what's coming in. You know, the truth is nowadays it's like everything and everyone's being attacked. And you know, part of security now, I mean, the security by obscurity is still not a bad way to go if you can do it. You know, I think Apple still uses that a lot for their stuff, the security by obscurity.
So how do you know whether or not it's going to interfere? Do you look at reviews, or
look at reviews on it? Look at what people have written about the software you're considering using.
All right.
Is basically research the software and see what's out there. There is a lot of stuff. There's a lot of things. And then there's even some that, you know, are malware disguised as antivirus.
Yeah, about those. How can you tell, or can you only tell once you download it?
You only know once you've downloaded and installed it, unless you've researched it and somebody else has already mentioned it on the internet. You know, the one thing I've discovered about the internet is any question you have, chances are that someone else has already asked and answered it on a web post somewhere. There's only been one time in my 20 years of the internet that I was the first one to find a problem. And I actually got the post about finding the problem. It's an old article on johnoverall.com of when I discovered this problem. And I posted about how I fixed it. And it became one of my most visited articles on my website. You know,
nice.
You know, unless you're a person that spends tons of time in there, tons of time writing stuff, you know, usually chances are you're not the first one to discover a problem. Somebody else has already discovered it, and somebody else has already posted and published about it somewhere. Because let's face it, everyone has the ease of access to complain about anything and everything, all the way down to the color of their shit up on the internet.
Very, very true.
You know, So it's just a matter of research is basically what it boils down to. Well, good for you, Hemdy, and I'm glad that Norton works for you. I liked it back in the beginning, but it became problematic, and I quit using it about 6 months before I sold my computer store. After I sold the computer store, I just never had faith in the program again, so I never tried it again.
Well, maybe they fixed it.
Maybe. Problem is the problem I find is they fix things, and then they decide they want to improve the customer experience, and then they break it all over again. I see this happen so much with software. It just annoys me. They'll get it. It works perfect. Works like a dream. Not a problem. Satisfactory 100%. Then they decide they're going to change one thing. And they end up breaking shit all over the place. I've seen that happen time and time again. And to some of my favorite programs out there too. It's just really a pain. Because of course, you know, as some programmers have said, it's like, whatever you do, don't touch the code, man. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But because consumers, they've trained consumers now to expect an update so often and constantly. AV reputation, day-to-day protection, malware bytes. Well, malware bytes is good. I haven't used it in a long time. Malware bytes, I used to use it to remove malware from computers when I was running my computer store. It was one of my main staples. I still have a CD-ROM of all the original software that used to work very well back in the day, which probably won't work now on Windows 10 because that was back in the day of Windows 6, I think it was. Yeah, Windows 6.
That's a while ago.
Yeah. So Windows 6 and Windows 7. So, you know, they, of course, as they've complicated up the Windows operating system, they've added so much bloat to it. There's so many problems there. So yeah, it's so hard to figure out exactly where you're going to go and what you're going to do. All right. Well, with all of that being said, I think we'll round out the show there. Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
I could see that too, Hemdian. Ebbs and flows. All right, well, let's let some Days of Thunder take us on out of here. Thanks, everyone, for showing up, and thanks for listening to the show.
These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. A quarter after midnight, and I'm watching the wall. Sometimes I feel so uptight, I just can't sleep at all. Every day doing the same old thing, we're losing time. The weekend comes, we gotta have some fun and rewind. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger. Choking off our air. We need to grab some lightning. Friday's almost here. Caught in a web, we need to cut this thread we're hanging by. Where is it said you have to be half dead to survive? These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder.
righty then. That's all we got now. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Adios, mofo.
All right.